Welcome back, everybody, to the Red Card Podcast again. Your source of questionable takes about the Premier League to American fans trying not to get sent off for what they have to say. Surya, how have you been? We've seen a lot of fixtures, basically 2 game weeks with the midweek fixtures and now the round of weekend fixtures. How are you feeling? Obviously, we'll dive into some specific results, particularly the fresh one that we just saw at Goodison Park. What's going on, my friend?
I'm not happy, dude. I'm not happy.
Not happy, huh? What are you feeling, bro?
I mean, now Arsenal down to seventh. That's what I'm feeling. It could have been fourth after United. Now after Everton and United, we're down to seventh. So and I mean, look, like even Spurs, like with the absolute dog shit season they've had, they're above Arsenal now. That makes sense.
And Conte is in. They're back to winning ways. I guess we can start there very quickly and just give them that shout out. They got 2 victories, one over Norwich, and another forgettable side that they just wiped across. So yeah, 3-0 against Norwich, and I'm looking here their other result. I guess they do have a game in hand. That's another thing about Spurs in their position.
They do, and that's even more worrying.
Yeah, and it doesn't bode well given what we're I guess at least what I'm hearing about the style on the pitch and the confidence of even getting a result next week at Southampton for a club like Arsenal. But yeah, I mean let's dive into the 2 fixtures. Obviously, we met together for Arsenal United, the first
Yeah,
loss of the two. That was a nice, exciting game. I think it was end to end.
it was. Yeah,
I guess what the F was that fetal position, David De Gea. Let's give a little quick shout out to that hilarious moment. Like,
bro. I mean, if that completely sums up Fred and United, right? In just he like stomps on his own keeper. The keeper, I guess. I mean, like he knew that it's Fred, right? But he still went down. He's just lying there as the ball goes in the goal. I mean, like if he was up, he could have easily saved it.
absolutely. I mean, it was something
Unbelievable.
I've never seen before. I've never
Yeah,
seen like a goalie in that fetal position. And I mean, yeah, I
yeah.
mean, was it Smith Rowe who just took the chance? I mean, you can't blame him. And a goal's a goal. The whistle wasn't blown. But
But
yeah,
even
kind of
if it,
hilarious.
like even if it was an Arsenal player who like stomped on you, I mean, like
Mm.
going down like that is like the absolute last thing you can do because obviously you can complain afterwards and they'll check VAR, but I mean if you go down like that, like you're asking to be scored on. It's just yeah, you're exactly right. I've never seen anything like that before in my life.
Yeah. And it was interesting. I guess Bruno kind of shifted the momentum, and right at the end of the half, great finish. I mean, 3 different goals, very similar. Just a kind of pass across the 6 yard box and a one-time finish across the keeper. Two from United, one from Arsenal. But that was an interesting turn of events. I mean, Bruno really shifted that energy. It seemed like, and I guess Cristiano took the lead. Odegaard put Arsenal back in it, and then he just naively and symbolically, I mean, gives away that pen.
Honestly, yeah. Honestly, man. I mean, like that's what happens with someone. I mean, first of all, who's not a defender, right? You're just kind of like going to challenges, and who's I'll say inexperienced on like sort of timing your tackles, and yeah, it was just all around. It was shambolic. Like I honestly think Arsenal could have easily won that game. It just seemed like United, at least in the first half, were there to be taken.
Exactly, they were there for the taking, and just United in their current state. I mean, they, you know, they're
Exactly.
yeah,
Like Aubameyang and Thomas Party as well, right? Like they're both underperforming now. Like like even this current like Everton game, the number of times Party was sloppy, gave the ball away easily. Like
mm,
it was so unlike him. And maybe the answer is just to give him like a break, have him
yeah, drop them
yeah
simply.
have one game where he comes in only as a sub, right, and sort of
Mm,
have him just relax. He Arteta he had that with Aubameyang today,
mm.
and at the end of the day, I think the whole team today just sort of did not look at it like Everton was solid. Like the whole, they couldn't get any balls like into Everton's, I think, attacking third. Right, there was a lot of just horizontal Arsenal passing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't want to keep you on this depressing topic too long, but you've segued nicely into the fixture from today.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess first and
disappointing.
foremost, yeah, disappointing. I mean, Everton haven't got a win since September. They've got 1 point from the last seven. I think from the last eight, it's two
Unbelievable.
points. I mean, they've been slapped left and right. I was saying I was so happy to hear that the other commentators and the fan commentators in Europe like saying what I was saying in our previous episode about Rafa being on the chopping block. Like it was so obvious that guy was just
Yeah,
ready to be. I mean, like there's
yeah,
you don't know what the style of plays, you don't know what the long term direction is. Is he a caretaker? Is he not? And still, out of nowhere, and I hate to like parrot the
yeah,
negative lines from like Arsenal Fan TV and troops and all that, but like, if you want to win, just let Arsenal roll up into town, and
yeah. I mean,
likely the
yeah,
mentality won't be there.
it is. I mean, it's like sort of a throwback today to like the old Arsenal where
Mm,
they could come up against like a completely garbage side and just on purely on energy, on sort of
exactly.
on calmness, just on the mental game you lose, right? And like that's, I don't know, it seemed like something Arsenal, at least against I want to say lower sides, had already ironed out
Mm,
of their game. It seemed like this whole season because for everyone except for the top, I guess I'd say top four, right? Like
mm.
we were never like sort of on the back heel like we were against Everton today. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly. Maybe it's just there's so many games in this small time that the players are sort of mentally exhausted. I'm not sure what it is, to be honest.
I mean, first and foremost, I'm so glad that you said that because I'm sure that there's fatigue. There's no doubt in my mind that there's fatigue there, and I think that to a degree, I mean, like it's not an excuse. Like obviously you
Yeah,
can't. Everybody has it, and to a
exactly. Like everybody
degree,
has it. Yeah,
you want your squad to be able to cope with that. But I think it's actually important to take a step back and just look at every squad and really be mindful of the human beings there and the kind of pressure and expectation. I mean, even the negative reaction to this kind of result. How much pressure, how much expectation, how much is on their shoulders, and now to a degree you hope that they would bring it on the pitch. It's,
yeah,
like that was it seemed lethargic from Arsenal today,
completely.
and the disappointing thing is that you don't have even those. I mean, Aubameyang, bro, this guy, what is, where is he, bro? Where in the world is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, bro? Missing a chance again in the last minutes. I mean, let's just give Damari Gray here, like, well, if we're gonna give an image, let's give the image. I mean, what a strike! Let's give him the respect that it was due. I'm not having all the criticism of Ben White. The guy's exhausted. It's the end of the match. You're really gonna call him Ben Shite? Like, come on, like he's been doing well. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
you could give it. Sometimes you also give it to the attacker. What an amazing strike. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
It
yeah, I
was like
mean,
a whole team effort to like lose that game, right?
yeah, absolutely. Oh God. Well, while we're on the subject of Everton, let's segue over to the Merseyside Derby real quick, just to kind of give us some reason to skip over to Liverpool and see the pair of fixtures that they had this week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
4-1.
I
Yeah, go
think for
ahead.
Everton. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, please, please, please.
Yeah, I was saying for the Merseyside Derby, I thought at least in the first half, like Everton put up a fight.
Mm,
Like they were at least tough to break down. It seemed, right?
yeah.
And then of course, once they concede one or two goals, then then it's open season. But I thought, after that game, I had this nagging sort of thought that like Everton seemed to at least be resilient now, and they had that same thing against Arsenal. They were resilient, and then like they were at home, and they really got the fan support, and then like every time they attacked, the ball was always looked like they could score. And I guess my overall thought about Everton is that perhaps this game and even their last game against Liverpool could be a stepping stone to sort of rebuild their season somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, there were some signs. I guess even Damari Gray getting his finish when he did in the derby, and I guess Rafa is a Champions League winning manager. You'd
Yeah.
expect him to be able to, with that kind of investment, do something. Um, and frankly, I think the result today does more. Obviously, we talked a bit about the Merseyside Derby. They were in it, but they ultimately were slapped around. I mean, Salah
Yeah.
with some beautiful finishes. Jota again in the mix. But yeah, I mean, perhaps now they can kick on. I mean, to a degree, you never really expected them to be relegated. It really
Yeah.
was about finishing in the, you
The
know,
top half, I think, to start with.
exactly. That's exactly right. But in a best case scenario, when you started the season and you're thinking on paper, that kind of investment, those players, all that stuff,
Exactly.
you think maybe, you
Top
know,
six, top seven, I think at least.
exactly, maybe.
Maybe.
But yeah, Liverpool, great result for them in the Merseyside Derby. And then in the weekend, they go to Molineux, park the bus from the Wolves. And uh, who else but Big Div to come on right at the end and
It's
salvage
always
the
gotta be him.
result?
Always gotta be him.
Oh, it's got to be him. Well, obviously, being a Liverpool fan, I can express a few thoughts. I mean, first and foremost, I think I like the term "this is making of champions."
Hmm.
I think it does definitely feel like the title winning season to a degree.
It does. Interesting.
I mean, that result feels like Villa. Villa 2-1, Sadio heading it into the corner. You know what I mean? There were a couple of last minute victories like that in that season where you felt, okay, this team has it in them. You know.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, I think it's you know there another cliche is that when you're not playing well, you get the result. And I don't think that we played particularly poorly. I mean, I think that the Wolves were a tough side to break down.
Yeah.
Jota with the LOL finish of miss of the season, like shooting right into the middle of the goal where the two defenders are standing. Like, couldn't you pick a better spot, Diogo? Uh, but yeah, in the end of the day, sometimes you need those, and it was ironic that in the post match interviews you heard like Divock was saying like, oh, Jurgen told him just go be Divock. You need those characters. You need and to be honest,
Yeah,
he is the super sub.
I'm telling you, I don't even remember how so when Balotelli was at City, he used to have this like "Why always me" T-shirt,
Mm.
right? I think Origi should always have on a T-shirt that says "It's always me" as a troll, and like every time he comes on
It's
and
always
scores,
me.
every time he comes on and scores, he has this shirt on. It's always me.
Oh my god.
It's always me, and then the question mark, bro. People will lose their minds. They're gonna love
It
that.
is always him. I mean, somebody said it really well. Like Divock Origi is one of those players that you maybe won't know the numbers or all that, but once you hear his name, you'll know which goals he scored and when.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
like in the Champions League final, in the
Yeah,
derby with the crazy
yeah,
freak off the bar. Even the first one in the Barcelona game, people and the second the corner taken quickly goal, that's Divock Origi with the finish. This guy is a cult hero.
like
Uh,
even if he can't score a lot of goals, he's not a superstar, but everyone is gonna
mm,
remember who he is.
exactly. But yeah, that I think is important for Liverpool at the end of the day to wrap this kind of up is just to stay in the title race. And I guess it's a good segue into City, and I'll kind of get
Yeah,
this. I want to get this league table up in here just so we can kind of do this comparison of the three as we
one thing I'll
finish.
say, just
Yeah,
complete
go ahead.
side, like I remembered from the Arsenal Man United game at the end,
Mm.
I was like, oh, like afterwards, I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch all this post match content. Good lord, man! They like for like 40 minutes, they had post match. 35 of those was just talking about how Michael Carrick leaving was a huge deal. They spent maybe second saying, "Oh, Arsenal could have won this game," and then
Hmm.
back to Michael Carrick. Like, are you kidding me, bro? Like, talk a little bit about the game. Say something. I went to Sky Sports. I went to, I think, Match of the Day. Oh, sorry, NBC Sports. Same thing. Like 20 minutes of just, oh, Michael Carrick, Carrick. Maybe like a minute of the actual game, and then and that's it. Oh, and then of course, and then talking about Ronaldo's 800 goals.
Yeah. I mean, football media is about
Post
headlines.
match, like that's post match for you. Come on, man.
Yeah, and you know, to a degree, I mean, the middle goals, you know, between the freak David De Gea and the penalty, those were kind of great goals to unpack, and you know, there's there's some tactical stuff there, tactical deficiencies from Arsenal and United,
Yeah.
and some good finishing.
Look,
But yeah,
one reason I go to post matches, of course, if Arsenal win, is to hear everyone sort of jerk off about Arsenal, right? Like say how strong they were, and of course pressure on United. If Arsenal lose, I go there to hear some positives to take away from the game, some encouraging thoughts, and I didn't get any of that after United. I haven't actually watched any post post match stuff for Everton, but I mean, I assume it'll all be.
it's doom and gloom. I can tell you.
Yeah.
I've already spent hours on AFTV and everybody.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's, I mean, and to be honest,
And
look, it's the
night,
same
and
stuff. It's the same stuff over and over again.
yeah, it is.
And I think, you know, there is something to question about the mentality. There is.
Yeah,
And to a degree, I think the, part of the, you know, when I hear them yelling about, oh, they're inconsistent. That's a young side. That's the typical of a young side.
yeah.
So I would expect that, but
Sacrificing leads like this every time.
exactly. But and to sides that are there for the taking. Forget
Yeah,
United. That's a freak result,
Everton especially.
you know, and even it's an individual mistake from Odegaard. But just like you're saying, Everton, these were there for the taking, man. These have 1 point in the last 7 matches. These are there for the taking. They've just been slapped around in their derby. Press them. Get in on them. Put pressure. We're not this sideways passing. Go forward. Put some pressure. Get plays balls in behind. Get Aubameyang involved. You know.
I think it might just be like mental fatigue. I think like because even even those players who are usually our sharpest players, right? Lacazette,
Mm.
Thomas Partey are super sharp. Like even they were sort of sloppy. They're like they had weak first touch. They tried to they got easily lost the ball, right? So I mean it is mentality, but there's a lot of individual sloppiness today in giving the ball away and not completing simple passes, and that I think comes down to both mental and physical tiredness.
Yeah. Well, a couple of teams. Well, one team that didn't really show some tiredness. We can just gloss over them because it's just routine at this point to cover their freaking wins. But it's Man City. One, you know, Stevie G tasted defeat. I wasn't expecting anything from him. This side put up a good fight. I thought they, you
Yeah,
know, thought they showed themselves very well for playing against the English champions and even keeping the scoreline that low. Definitely commendable.
yeah,
But then against Watford, again, Bernardo Silva coming in with some beautiful finishes. Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a reason this team is top of the league right now,
yeah.
and you can see it. And I guess, you know, while we're on the topic, we can go quickly over to Chelsea as well. You know, Watford
The West Ham. What happened?
dropping exactly. Well, first they got the win against Watford, relatively routine, but you
I mean,
saw.
easy. It should be easy.
Yeah, I mean, but you saw also it was 2-1. They couldn't get too many goals off the line, if I remember correctly. There was an equalizer, and then they had to find the win again.
Yeah,
So, you know, even though they turned it on in the second half for sure.
yeah,
But you know, West Ham, just like you're alluding to, I mean, first and foremost, you know, we have to acknowledge that they got it off a freak. I mean, you know, what was that
I
goal,
mean,
bro?
it was pretty. Although I thought, I mean, it seemed, I think, well deserved, right? I mean, like they were in the
Oh
game.
yeah, for sure. But at the end of the day, I think moments change matches, and to a
Yeah,
degree, on a different day, that's a 2-all draw on a different. And I will commend you, like exactly what you're saying. West Ham, especially in the second half. I mean, and even in the first half, I think Mount's goal. First of all, great
yeah,
finish on the volley at the
really,
near post. You maybe you think Martinez shouldn't be beat at his near post like that, but what a finish! But that was kind of against the run of play. It kind of felt like West Ham were building into the game, and you were going to see more from them before Chelsea were back into it. But man, and I guess it was set pieces again, man. Set pieces
yeah.
for West Ham. I mean, they find and the energy in the London Stadium too.
So good at them, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, given how good David Moyes is now, like if he gets top four in Champions League spot, with that extra cash, I can't imagine, like if he has time to improve the squad,
Mm.
with signings in the summer, how good they can be next season.
Well, let's see here. We've glossed over the top four basically now. I can't believe I'm saying top four with including West Ham.
It's unbelievable. But like they're there, they're there.
But they're there. But this is where we stand. So Man City at the top of the league with 35 points. They are best informed team in the Prem at the moment. Liverpool right behind them. Ironically enough, Chelsea dropping to third place with that loss. And as you see, as you're saying, West Ham United, David Moyes. And what's interesting? It's just the mentality.
Yeah,
I saw an interview on Football is Nice with one of the I forget an old West Ham player that's kind of working in the club now. He just talked about the mentality of Moyes, and it was interesting. Even in his post match interview, he was just talking about that graft and that energy, and just kind of like making your own luck. I opened the segment about with that lucky goal, but like they really made that.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
But they're in it, man. And what do you think? I mean, I'm looking at this table, and I'm thinking, okay, top three are solidified. But in for that fourth spot and those Europa League spots, I mean, it's these four clubs. Like, do we think? I mean, to me, I can't see any club that's not West Ham United taking that fourth spot.
I can't either. I mean, so I can't see maybe Spurs because they have a game in hand over West Ham, and so if they win the game and they're even, then the whole season, then they're above West Ham. So maybe Spurs, under Antonio Conte. Well, let's see how Ralph Ragnick's team does. I mean, like out of nowhere, United have all this, already have like this energy, this like determination now to win. Fred out of nowhere is playing well, like, completely against against the script, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Although I think I don't know, like I still think, yeah, I'm honestly afraid of how good United could become for the rest of the season, just because it's not looking that good for Arsenal. Because our Arsenal next game is Southampton. Game after that is West Ham, and
Yeah, let's
I
see Arsenal's fixtures here.
I mean the West Ham game there is no. I mean it's at home for Arsenal, but I don't think they have a chance against
At the
West Ham.
Emirates, you're right.
Against Southampton, even I mean Southampton are 16th, but you know the old vibes of Arsenal coming back, right? Like Arsenal aren't that dangerous of a team now. I will say, Arsenal's home record so far, we're unbeaten. Arsenal has a great home record, so we have that. Arsenal have that going for them. But I'm still scared. I'm honestly concerned that
Mm.
this season could slowly slip away, and we end up the same place as last season.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, as I look at the table, it really feels. I mean, and I hate to think about the managers, but like
Yeah,
Moyes, Conte, and Ragnick are gonna have a battle and it just you don't really know enough about Arteta to really include him in that conversation well enough that you can feel confident that not only will they progress through this fixture congestion, but then also survive after. I guess Aubameyang's not existent anyway, but a
which
couple of more of their players go out for AFCON.
you know, I,
So
you know, it's always strange strange to like think that Arsenal's problem is like missing a quality attacker. That is almost that's like that's never the case for Arsenal. Now we have solid players in the midfield and defense. Now what's lacking is scoring goals. Right? Like we don't have a goal attacker. So I'm hoping in the winter window maybe get somebody on loan, just to change it up or even find someone. But I think Arsenal will probably have to wait until the summer and sign like a high quality striker because Lacazette it has not is on his way out clearly. Aubameyang.
Yeah, clearly.
Aubameyang
Aubameyang is missing, bro. Aubameyang, get him on the milk carton and try to ask around town where he can find him. Like what? 30 goal a season striker like 2 seasons ago. Talk about flash in the pan.
Bro, that guy is proceeding faster than his hairline. You see the guy's 5 head? But anyway.
Oh my God, yeah, it is. It is not looking good for Arsenal's prospects of top 4 that really lasted for a week, and just in the span of 2 game weeks,
Now I don't think that Wolves or Brighton have a chance of overtaking Arsenal. I think Arsenal might end up in 7th place. But
yeah,
honestly,
Wolves are forgettable. As I said, I know you trolled me in the chat before Div got his goal, but now nobody's ever gonna remember jack shit other than Big Div getting that finish.
I mean, I'll be honest, right? Like Liverpool failed to score against Wolves. Let's not.
They did, but if you look at Wolves, even the last fixture for Wolves was a 0-0 draw. Wolves are set up to defend, and even at Molineux, and at this point, yeah, just like you said, I said before, like you don't have to be playing every game. Just get the result, and they got the result.
Wolves also beat West Ham just like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like again, different results for different times, and like to a degree, like we were lucky, we rode our luck, but you make your own luck, and Big Div comes on for the moment, and yeah, I mean to be fair, that's another thing. I mean, if you look at Arsenal and you want to see, I mean, Fred became the match winner, I guess, for United, but you need that was a similar result for United,
Yeah.
Coming up against Crystal Palace, and I guess we can, I know we've glossed over many of the fixtures, but maybe let's give a quick mention to Crystal Palace, who can't find a freaking win to save their lives. Patrick Vieira, they can't find a goal to save their lives either in the last 2 fixtures, both losing 1-0. But yeah, I mean, you need the match winner, and at the end of the day, I guess you're not expecting it to be Fred, but that you saw that match winner come in the United game, and they get the result in the end. So United Arsenal maybe need that kind of thing. If they had one that I could look at and say, okay, he's a match winner, and even with Spurs, like I guess we can gloss to their the results quick again. I know we talked to them in the beginning, but Lucas Moura, great finish, Son, great finish in the last match. So they have a few finishers there, and I guess now with Conte, you hope that Harry Kane will go into form. But now in ours, you're hoping and you're putting on all the expectations on the shoulder of Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe. And who was it? They were talking about Fabregas on AFTV. And how... No. I mean, there was an interview that Fabregas did, and he talked about how during his era there was so much pressure on his shoulders. Yeah. And you can start to see that happening. You can't really rely, to a degree, on that kind of club. On the young kids. For a club that's going to have this expectation where the fans are going to melt down over... and look, Arsenal's run of form, I mean, it's not the worst run of form in the world. I mean, yes, it's 3 defeats in the last 5, and it's 6 defeats overall. And like, okay, but it's... considering where the side is, and I mean, yes, like, you can, and like, okay, obviously it doesn't hit the par, but in any case, it doesn't. We're far from that top 4 chance, and I know we've harped a lot about Arsenal. It seems like it's top of mind, bro. Oh man. But yeah, let's we talked a bit about Crystal Palace. I don't know if you want to mention on Vieira and his team. I think it's worth, I'd like to give a shout out to Stevie as well. Stevie, I mean, admittedly, it's tough to get a result against Guardiola in the Champions of England, but holding on, I mean, bringing his side out in the second half against Leicester, to just. I mean, I guess he knew Brendan Rodgers before. They met in the Old Firm Derby in Scotland, so it was he was a manager he had experience with, and I guess to a degree he knew about Leicester, and I'm sure he knew about those different players. But man, I mean first of all, Madison decent finish in that match. But man, I mean they came out with a fierce. I mean they had that weird disallowed goal. I don't know if you saw that one, but it was kind of just a weird. Schmeichel had his hand on top of the ball, and just according to the rules of the game, if there's if the hand of the goalkeeper is on the ball and is, I guess they said if the ball is between the hand and the ground or something like that, like there's some like weird technical description where like that counts as possession for Schmeichel. So I guess there was a finish there, and then they thought they'd equalized, and it was disallowed. And when that happens to you, you can fall apart. The team can fall apart. They can harp on that kind of decision. And the Israeli commentator that I was watching I guess that's how I watched the match. But on his channel he was remarking about the stature of Stevie throughout the game, just like how calm he was, and just like I guess he remarked like if you blow up in that moment and you start harping on that and you're like blaming the ref and you're like yelling, you can easily transmit that same energy to your team and they can lose their heads. But he kept calm. And I'm sure at the halftime team talk, he was, he brought forward, those few elements of the things that they were doing right. And even he said in the post-match interview, they got a rollicking. There were many things they were doing wrong, and they got a rollicking. And by God, they came back and they got that result. So I had to just give that little shout out to Stevie. I think he's gonna go far. I mean, do I think they'll finish? I'm looking at the table now. They're 10th right now, and they have 6 wins, just 1 win behind Arsenal. Not too bad, if you ask me. But I think they can finish in the top half comfortably and set themselves in a position to challenge for Europa League spots next season, or Conference League even.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I actually think at some point, I think they'll actually go above probably Brighton at least.
Mm.
I don't see Brighton staying in ninth
Draw merchants, man.
10th or above for the whole season. That's gonna be hard.
Yeah, Brighton are draw merchants. I mean, look at that. They are top of the league for draws with 8 draws. Unbelievable. Yeah, and it's yeah. And I guess Potter's been having them playing good football, admittedly. But will they be able to keep it consistent? And will they? I mean, I think Villa have shown they have more cash to splash in January if they need. Probably they don't have to, but it'll be interesting. I mean, it's also interesting. I call them forgettable, but Wolves, they're up there, man. I guess they get their results. At the end of the day, they get the results they need, and yeah, I guess it was a 1-0 victory against West Ham.
Yeah, but they all count, right?
They all count. I mean, and they do have 6 wins, so you can't discount them at the end of the day. But yeah, that was a quick shout out I wanted to give. And yeah, I guess that concludes our quick roundup of those 2 condensed match weeks. I guess maybe we could just give a quick to Newcastle, who get their first victory on the board. Out of nowhere. I mean, to be fair, from what I watched of the game, they looked deserved winners, especially at the end of the match. They were piling on the pressure. And, they're in front of their home fans. They needed that result. I think what's interesting for me is how, tight it still is. I mean, all of the bottom 3 here are on 10 points. Here, let's just maybe give a view for it. Why not? While we're here. So it's like, I was saying, oh man, they're going to get relegated for sure. And I guess, it looks like they still are favorites. But at the end of the day, there's almost nothing in this. I mean, Watford, who are in terrible form, I guess they admittedly had difficult fixtures altogether. But it's going to be a slippery slope between these 4. And you never know. Like, Southampton and Leeds, they can slip. They can slip into this. And I hate to say it, even Crystal Palace, they can slip into this.
I don't know. Like, I'd be surprised if they get relegated, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it looks like Newcastle, Norwich, and Burnley. I think Watford, at the end of the day, will probably go down. Like, Burnley might, with Sean Dyche, stay up. But yeah, I mean,
But you
interesting.
see, like Newcastle's past match. Same with Burnley. It's only one loss, and the rest are right. So like for Newcastle,
Mm.
it's a win, a draw, a loss, and a draw and draw. So like there is some hope there. And if you look at Watford's last games, they're all losses except for one win, right?
Yeah.
So there is a chance that Watford could go in there and one of them come out. I think it'll be probably Newcastle comes out, but I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll have to see, and obviously it's quite early in the season, so we'll still have to see. Obviously, there's this congested period, which is
Yeah.
very tough for all the clubs.
Yep.
But then there's also, January AFCON, so a number of players will be going. And you'll also have then this kind of, that lull between, that January, that kind of January, February, March window before the end of the season where, I only point that out because I know how notorious Liverpool are for dropping points in that phase of the
Yeah.
season. But it's the point is like Champions League comes back and the fixtures come thick and fast. So those teams that have fixtures in Europe in midweek, they're back into
They'll
that
play in
grind and
person.
they're stretching their squads and that's why actually ironically I thought Arsenal had a chance to make it to the top four because they had no fixtures midweek. I thought that's
But
time
everyone's
to
been
prepare.
saying, but then who knows?
It's not more time to prepare on the pitch. It's more time to take selfies on Instagram and to come up with new, exciting training kits to sell to the fans.
That's true, bro. That's what
Banter FC, bro.
I don't know. Don't talk about
Banter
it.
FC. I hate that we spent so much time in this episode shitting on Arsenal, and I know you have some things to do, so we'll put you out of your misery soon. Let's take a
Thank God.
brief look just at maybe the next fixtures. I know also we'll probably be likely taking off next week, but we'll have. I mean, I think it's still another. I mean, this point of the season is there's like literally games every 3 days. So like I'm looking at the game week right now. It's like you got matches on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then starting again Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You're like, what the hell, bro? Like,
I know,
can
right?
you relax? Like, and like, please, I'll give another mention to your first point about the mental exhaustion. Like, can we give these players just a freaking break? But yeah, goddamn. So I mean, maybe just let's look at the most notable fixtures for the next 2 weeks and kind of maybe discuss what we think. Maybe some results.
Well,
Uh,
I would say Stevie G comes back to Anfield.
that's right.
Arsenal.
Yeah, that popped out to me. Stevie
Not
G
Arsenal.
to
But
Anfield. Oh well, I mean Arsenal. Is that in the second fixture? Is that in the kind of midweek? No, it's Villa Norwich.
Villa
Not quite
Liverpool is
Arsenal,
on Saturday.
right? And Arsenal Southampton, as we talked about. We'll see if they can get a result and kind of lift the spirits again. But it looks like it should be a bunch of routine wins. I
I think
mean,
it should be.
for all the top six sides on
Actually,
Saturday.
maybe I can see Crystal Palace Everton being a close game. But that's about it.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, and still here, yeah, you're right. I would expect likely. I mean, West Ham might struggle against Burnley and Turf Moor. They're not easy to play against. Leicester should probably dispatch Newcastle. Palace,
Yeah.
you're right. Palace and Everton could be, especially given Everton are they're in their spirits. I don't know how Palace's home record is, but Everton after being buoyed after you know sinking Arsenal's ship in the final moments at Goodison, they'll be ready for a good matchup.
They got the vibes on their side, bro.
Dude,
They
they've got the
vibes on their
vibes.
side.
And then midweek, because I know we won't be recording next week, so midweek we'll be able to see another routine win for Man City over Leeds for sure. Probably a good contest at Carrow Road. Obviously, you'd expect Villa to get the result given how bad Norwich are this season. But if Stevie keeps that momentum going, that would be interesting. United at Brentford. I mean, we saw Brentford give a good result to you guys in the first game of the season to hold us to a 3-all draw. So that's
Yeah.
not an easy place to go. So that might be interesting. And then I guess the last few fixtures here for that second week. Anything notable here? I mean, it's a bit
Probably I'd say Arsenal.
Oh, that's
West
the
Ham.
one, man. That is the one. Declan Rice, your boy, coming up against the shambolic midfield of Shaka and Partey and maybe Lakonga. I don't know.
I
Wow,
don't even know what you
that's
want
gonna
to
be a
say.
big one, and it's at the Emirates too. Interestingly enough, I mean, I guess you'll have the Arsenal crowd in the and that'll be I guess double-edged sword.
Arsenal have a solid home record too. Look at that
Yeah,
going.
I think they should. Honestly, I think they should do fine, and to a degree, I can see a scenario where it ends in a draw and the fans go ballistic because it's not good enough. But I can also see some
Yeah.
fans being level-headed and saying like, this is a West Ham side that are, levels, with David Moyes, and unfortunately, you don't want to admit that they're levels above Arteta and Arsenal, but they're, they
They are.
are. I can't believe I'm saying it. The Irons, bro. Oh, and I've lost him. And it's fitting because, you know, he wants to put himself out of his misery. I was just telling everybody, it's perfect timing to be able to, your machine was ready to put you out of your misery.
It was ready, bro.
It was ready. But yeah, I guess the last three fixtures here, this actually should be pretty tasty. That Thursday should be pretty tasty.
Should be.
I guess Newcastle, they should be slapped around, but that's always an interesting fixture. And yeah, Chelsea versus Everton, that should be interesting. I guess if only to see if Rafa's side can
Video.
muster something against Chelsea with some momentum.
Yeah.
And Spurs and Leicester, I mean, that's actually and Leicester, man, they really are bottle jobs. Like they were supposed to be, in, like, they're not even in that. I mean, like, where are they even in the table? Is this the table here, bro? Where the hell are they in the table, Leicester? Bro, they're 11th, bro. They are below Villa in the table. Like, they were supposed to be on paper
Yeah.
in this bracket, attempting to go for this top 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Wow, that is shambolic, man. That is really shambolic. But yeah, a round of interesting fixtures, lots of congestion, and I think when we return, we'll likely be talking about. Well, we'll talk about these two weeks, but we'll be looking ahead to the Boxing Day and Christmas fixtures, which is always a fun time of the year. So that should be an exciting time, and I know that Liverpool Chelsea is right around the corner around that time. So season defining potentially in the next couple of weeks. And yeah, any final thoughts, Surya, before we send you off to sulk and try to find solace in the fact that maybe you can trust in the process?
Final thoughts. I don't know, man. I'm looking for something to be hopeful for, but I haven't found it yet.
Well, keep looking, Surya, because I don't think it's coming with Mikel Arteta. Let's get the Arteta out brigade. Troops
Oh my
TV. Get this man out of my club. Shout out, Troops. Don't shout out. But yeah, I mean, as for me, Liverpool, thank you, staying in the title race. Mo Salah, keep scoring your goals. Good enough for me. And players, shout out to you all for going through this fixture congestion, because that's a fucking mess. FA, sort your shit out. You're a bunch of frauds. Peace and love, my friends.